Turn that off. It's time for No Pad Sports Talk. Stay tuned as two brothers bring you the latest from your Michigan teams and beyond in hockey, baseball, football, and more. Let's get started. Here are your hosts, JD and Steve.
Welcome to No Pad Sports Talk. I am one of your hosts, JD.
And I am Steve, and it seems like it's been a really long time since we've done a show.
Yeah, I mean, well, we did a live viewer watch party thing for the Lions, but we didn't actually do a show for that technically.
No, we did not do a post game but we kind of gave our thoughts throughout the game, right? So
I think that covered most of it. However, the only thing I want to touch back on before we move on to the game tomorrow, because we're recording this pretty late on a Saturday night, the only thing I want to touch on real quick is going to be the controversy surrounding the Taylor Decker reporting, didn't report controversy there, because that happened at the end of the game. We ended our show. We never really did a post game. So there's a lot of stuff that came out since then regarding it, and I just want to cover that real quick before we jump into tomorrow's game.
Yeah.
When we ended the show shortly after the game was over, we kind of thought that, hey, maybe Taylor Decker didn't report properly. We didn't exactly know what was going on, but the replays right after the show, it looked like Taylor Decker was reporting because we saw him walk up to the referee there. So it looked like he was reporting. But again, it was still early on. We didn't really have all the information. So the two main things I want to point out is one by John Boy. I don't know if you watch John Boy Media or not, but I'm a pretty big fan of John Boy. He does a lot of lip readings, especially when it comes to baseball, and I kind of love it. So his take on it was this, all right? His take was this right here is like the universal sign that they're going to report eligible, right? If you see Skipper running onto the field, he has his hand up and he was brushing like this, doing right? This. At the same time, you had Taylor Decker also doing this, but he was doing it with both hands, but the referee's attention never looked like he was actually looking at Taylor Decker. It looked like he was looking at Skipper.
Yep.
Okay. So it looks as if, and remember, Skipper also reported multiple times during the game as the person that was going to be the eligible receiver.
Correct.
But again, all of this was being set up by the Lions, having Skipper report over and over again. So hopefully when it gets down to it at the end of the game, if they had to run a play, they switch to try to confuse the defense and get a blown coverage and get somebody open, to score. So they got that opportunity, got that chance, but the referee never seemed to look at in Taylor Decker's way, right?
Well, even like, and I see that, like I saw that video with Skipper running in, right? That clip as he's coming on, and you could see like his hand was up, and the other one, I didn't know, you couldn't really see what he was doing because it was here, right? So he could have done that, right? As he was coming in. Now, my problem that I have is Decker was standing right in front of the ref.
Yes.
Reporting.
Right.
Right? Like, so, yes, I get that what you're saying. I do. Right? We were trying to deceive the Cowboys.
Yes.
I absolutely. That's what football is, isn't it? They don't know my play, right?
So the other point I was going to make was what Rex Ryan said. Now, Rex Ryan, of course, being a head coach, right? Oh, and also the Kelsey brothers. I sent you the video about the Kelsey brothers talking about it. And Jason Kelsey was talking about, like, they have exactly the same play. Like, almost mirrors the Lions.
Yes.
And they do the same thing. They try fooling the referee.
Correct.
Right? But what Rex Ryan said, they had the referee on the show, and that's exactly how the referee put it, and was blaming Skipper and the Lions for it. Rex Ryan called him out. I don't know if you've seen that or not.
I did not. I have to look that up. Because I love Rex Ryan. Because he went off. Like, after the play happened, like, he went off. I saw that video clip.
Yeah.
But,
he did go off. Now, Rex Ryan was saying what Skipper was doing with his hand up and motioning. Because, again, we can't really see exactly what he's doing from that angle. But Rex Ryan called out the referee that tried to say that happened and said, oh, no, that's not what he was doing. He was telling the offensive line, I can't remember exactly the terms he used, either the formation or the line, or he was signaling to the offensive line what was coming up. So that signal was for the offensive line, not for the referee. Right. So the fact that the referee tried saying that was a signal for him reporting as eligible was completely incorrect anyways, and Rex Ryan called him out on it. So, again, like, we have to trust the experts. The experts is, Travis Kelsey, Jason Kelsey, that, basically said that
these are players, like current players that are playing this game.
Players. Yes.
Yes.
And Rex Ryan, like, everybody that has anything to do with football that's not a Dallas Cowboy is basically saying the referee screwed up, Lions got
How's
screwed.
This? Talking about even anyone not a Cowboy, Troy Aikman, even during the game, like after the game, was questioning what happened. Right?
He was very careful with his word choice, but yes, he was questioning.
And he was very diplomatic about it. But if you listen to what he said, he's like, and because of the way he said it, was like, hey, look, I don't know what Skipper was doing. I don't know what Decker was doing, but like, my perception is the only reason a lineman goes and gets directly in front of the ref is to say, I'm reporting.
Correct. Yes.
Right?
Right.
So that, to me, he was like, something's a little fishy. Not that the whole conspiracy. There is so much in the internet, on the webosphere.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just ridiculous things about, and like, somebody did the work, and you and I saw it.
Yeah.
Like that officiating crew, the Lions are 0-6. Like, you have to have a lot of time on your hands to go back and, like, know that. How do you get that information? Right? That's what the first thing is I'd want to verify that. Right? Because how do you know? How do you know what 6 games that crew was, has officiated a Lions game?
Right?
Right? Like, how do you look that up? Right? But anyway, there's so much garbage, right? We believe it was a bad call. We've said it was a bad. Yes, it was a mistake, right?
Yeah.
And refs are human.
Yeah.
But you've been saying this for a really long time, right? And I think you've even said it on our show that there's a problem with officiating in the NFL, and that you feel that problem could be alleviated if they were full-time employees of the NFL and being able to work on their craft, practice what they're looking for, right? Like seeing game tapes and watching, like, okay, hey, this is what I think I should have called, right? Like being able, like a game, like a player, as they watch film to see what's going on. So like, hey, I need to get better and be able to see that component, right? Because it's not just one person, right?
No.
Right? Like the whole crew, they work together, and I think they pretty much keep the crews together, and they take that whole crew and they're together the whole season. That way they get some rhythm, throughout the season. Right? So
look,
every year you say this, because at the end of the season there's so many games that were questionable because of calls that were made or not made during a game, right? And I understand that they're not going to be able to catch everything, right? It's a lot of field, right?
Sure.
And there are going to be some things that they may miss and some things that they may see in live as it's happening that in slow motion that we're looking at like, that's whatever, right? But that's not the point. Is that being able to get paid to sit down and review games and get better at what you do, working together as a cohesive unit, right? I think over a season, if you did that, like, the officiating would get better.
Here's what I'd like to see. All right. I want to take it a step further, honestly. I mean, everything you're saying is exactly true, but I mean, like when teams have like their game film is focused on specific aspects about the game, right? You have like cameras focused, like, defensive line, offensive line, like what different wide receivers. You got the overhead. Like there's different types of film that they watch to break it down. I want to see something very similar to that when it comes to what the referees would have to do during the off season when there's rule changes, especially because every year there's rule changes, right? So what I'd love to see is for them not only in their own games that they called, but with but also looking at other games and say, look, here's what I want you to do. This is a new rule change. You go through this game film and you find plays that would have been different with this new rule change, right?
Yes.
Get used to looking for that. And, like, I'm sorry, but there's so much money the NFL makes. It's completely inexcusable that they don't have full-time referees, because you cannot have a game end in manners that we've seen so many times with the Lions, right? This isn't new for us.
No.
We've seen this happen.
No.
We've seen the phantom face mask at Aaron Rodgers and the double Hail Mary, right? We've seen the Houston Texans running back in the day during the Thanksgiving Day game, and he go down and he gets in the end zone, right?
Yep.
And that caused a touchdown. We've seen, of course, that Brandon Pettigrew flag get picked up. We've seen the Des Bryant coming down the field without his helmet not get called.
Yep.
We've seen the Calvin Johnson, the catch that wasn't a catch because of the process. I could go on and on and on forever, because the Lions have been the golden or the Calvin Johnson when he went into the end zone dive and the Seattle Seahawks guy batted in the back of the end zone. The Golden Tate where he dove for the end zone, they called him short. It doesn't matter. We can go on so many times. We cannot have games where referees are the deciding factor, because any team, you can go back and watch the 50 plays that happens between the offense and the defense, and you can pinpoint plays. Well, if this didn't happen this way, that team could have won. Well, if this didn't happen this way, that team could have won. The only thing that matters ultimately is did they overcome it? And in the sense of the Lions' mistakes, Dan Campbell should kick that field goal. I knew that, well, not just me, but everybody kind of knew he should kick that field goal. Everybody should have known.
Even the Kelsey brothers were like, after that, he should have taken the 5 yard. They would have kicking it from the 7. You kick the field goal, and you take your chances in overtime, right?
That's the extra point I didn't even get to yet, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I was talking about the field goal.
Oh, you're talking about the field goal.
Yeah, the actual field goal.
Yeah.
He should have kicked the extra point after the penalty. Even the Kelsey brothers, like you said that, right?
Yep.
You can go and point to all that. The missed sack, that was a 9-point swing from Barnes, right?
Yep.
You can go back and you can pick all these things out. But the Lions overcame those mistakes and a chance to win it and should have won it.
Yeah.
Right? And
that play wouldn't have, and that play wouldn't have mattered then, right?
No.
Because it wouldn't have mattered.
No. Because you have to overcome your mistakes.
Look, you get a sack in the end zone, you get the safety, and then you're getting the ball back.
You get the ball.
Right? So not only is it a 9-point swing, it could be as much as little as 12 if we go down and kick a field goal, right? But as much as 16.
Yes. You're exactly right. Yeah.
So that's a lot of points, right? So if you give us 9, right, or give us 5, we don't need those points. We're up by 3.
Right.
Right? You kick the field goal, we're up by 6.
Yes.
Right? So in the end of the game, we didn't even have to go down and score a touchdown.
No, we didn't have to.
We could have kicked the field goal and still won by 2.
Right.
Right? So while there were, and I said this, a friend of mine, she made a post on Facebook, and then someone made a comment, about he should have gone for the extra point at the end, whatever. And I'm like, you know what? And I said this to you. I says, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Right? And I think the Kelsey brothers said it, and I'm going to give them credit for saying this because they did. They both Dan Campbell was just pissed.
Right.
Pissed that they didn't give him those points, and he's like, you know what? We're just going to shove it down your throat, and we're going to do it again.
Yep.
Right? And so not just his ego, all the coaching staff, right? The players, I think as a collective, they're like, this is crap, and they just went out there and they executed it poorly, right?
Yeah, because
the best opportunity on that third try, Goff had him open, and all he had to do was loft it up to him, and we get the points, right?
And how does he must throw that bad?
I know, right? To a guy that was that wide open, and he's a tight end. You can't. He threw it at his knees. He's trying to. You got to put it up here because he's turning back, away from the direction that he's running to begin with. That's not. It's a more difficult catch than people think, right? It's not like he was out in front of it and he was going to catch it this way, right? He was going to have to be running to his right and catching it back over his left shoulder like this and bringing it in, right? So it's a difficult catch, right? But we had the other opportunity to do that, and it didn't go our way. We're not happy about it. We're never going to be happy about it, specifically because it's not the first time we've had an issue with the Cowboys.
Right.
So we can go conspiracy theory as much as anybody.
I'm sorry. I got to say one more thing about this real quick, though. There was a video that Dean Blandino put out there.
Right? God. You saw it because he's wearing his Lions gear?
Oh, if there was ever a time...
I'm one of you.
I wanted to punch that guy so bad in the face. You're not one of us.
Whatever,
Dean. Party bus when they picked up that Pettigrew flag. I don't want to hear your crap. You're not one of us.
Yeah.
And every Lions fan's going to hate your guts the day you die. That's the bottom line, Dean Blandino. You suck. Right.
Yeah. This is why you are in the announcer's booth.
Don't ever
easy
say that we're like you.
No.
You know how insulting that is to a Lions fan saying we're like you?
You are not a Lions fan, sir.
All right. I got to get that off my chest because that was just driving me nuts.
No. I'm glad you brought it up because I totally forgot and I saw it. I don't even know if I sent that to you or if you sent it to me, but I watched that thing and I was so furious. Like I didn't even know what to do with it. Didn't even know. So,
anyways, now
there's our 19 minutes of post game.
We had to get that out there. I felt like we had to because we didn't really address it, So
we did.
Now, one more thing before we move on to the game tomorrow, I got one more thing I got to bring up.
All right,
it's kind of a funny story. All right, it's a funny story.
Okay.
So even though I may not be able to tell, I did get my hair cut recently. All right, and
all right,
yeah. Look, I'm doing that
Did you cut it? Or did it just fall out?
There we go. I was waiting for some smart.
He's working on the comb over, so he's got it coming from the front and staying longer, so he can pull it to the back.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm not gonna hide it. All right, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah,
I'm keeping it longer so it covers more of the areas where it's it's kind of not
where it's a little thinner.
That's just what it is. So yes, I'm practicing the comb over thing. All right.
Look, he's just wishing he had this. And
look, I like my front right here. I don't like the M.
I don't mind the M. I don't mind the M because I'm a go blue. Go blue.
I do wish I had yours back here though. That's where I want yours at. Right
when I'm ready to paint my face, I already have the outline. I can do the block M right here. I'm good.
But that's actually what my story is about. honestly. It's about Michigan. All right.
Okay.
So I go in to get my hair cut, and the stylist she has me come back. I walk back there, and she's like, and she then as I'm sitting down, she puts that the little cape thing on me, right?
The giant apron, yeah.
Yeah. And she says, "Oh, didn't Michigan just win the Rose Bowl or something?" And I'm kind of wondering, like this is kind of out of the blue. Like, why is she even asking me this question? And I said, "Yeah, they just won it." And she's like, "I thought so." And so I must have a confused look on my face. I don't know. I don't even know why she even brought it up. Obviously, she's not a fan because the way she was talking and everything. I don't know what's going on. And she just says, "Yeah, I just saw your Michigan shirt, and so I figured that you were a fan." Now I didn't say nothing, but I had on a Tigers shirt that said Tigers all the way across. Kind of like your shirt, what you got on now. But it said the Detroit and it said the Tigers, right? Yeah, like that. And so I didn't say nothing. I don't want to correct her. I'm just thinking to myself, this person has no clue about the team. Maybe it's because it's blue. She thinks it's like a Michigan. I don't know, right? Like, I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying not to comment on it. I just comment and leave it alone, and hopefully she stops talking about it.
Yeah.
And then later on, like maybe a minute later, she brings back up again, and she's like, "Aren't they going to the national championship or something?" I'm just thinking to myself, please stop talking about Michigan. And but I'm polite and I answer back, And then she says, brings up my shirt again. She's like, "So with me wearing a Michigan shirt," she said, are you from Michigan?" Like, at this point, like I've just.
So for context, were you in Michigan when you got your haircut? I was
in Michigan. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Good question, because I travel, right?
You travel for work. So I didn't think you had left for work this week until next week,
not.
But
correct.
But I was like,
and I had to get my hair cut before I went back to work. So, anyways, all that stuff going. Anyway, so I'm just like, please stop talking about my shirt because it's not Michigan, right? And she got done, and she, finishes me up, and I go to pay and everything. And I go to put on my jacket, and that's when I realized I was wearing a Michigan jacket. And that's probably what she saw. I was just saying shirt as opposed to coat.
Yep.
So I'm thinking to myself, like, I am so glad I didn't say anything to her because I'd probably feel like an idiot at this point.
Well, you might have to have gotten a second haircut. Look, there are some people I just won't talk bad about. The people who bring me my food, the people who cook my food, and anybody that's going to cut my hair. Right? It's never going to happen.
So
I will agree with pretty much whatever they have to say.
I just thought that was pretty funny, though, right?
That's funny.
All in all, I thought she was being an idiot, but it was me not realizing that I had a Michigan shirt on. Or Michigan jacket.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well,
anyway, all right.
We can all be that way sometimes, right? It happens to the best of us.
But it's currently 10:40 at night. We got a game tomorrow.
Yeah, got a game tomorrow, 1 o'clock.
Definitely going to try to live stream it. Is what the plan is.
Yep. So I am going to try and figure out how to best hook all of this up so I can see the TV.
Yeah.
So, because at this point, the TV is behind me on my right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of being outside my new office that I'm currently creating. I have the framing up. I got the door up. Needs drywall, but it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
So, but if I'm dropping, well, I've told my brother I'm going to drop in some Ethernet ports into the new office. Maybe I'll just get me a smart TV and mount it on the wall.
Smart TV is the way to go.
Yeah.
And they're not that expensive anymore. As a matter of fact, I seen an 85-inch TV today for less than $1,000.
Costco?
No.
No?
Actually, no. Actually, I was picking up my wife from work there in Walmart, and that's what she had. She had. I mean, I was walking around, just kind of looking around. I was waiting, until she got done, and 85-inch TV, $990, something like that. I don't know.
An 85-inch TV. That's fantastic.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's 10:40 at night. We got a game tomorrow.
Yes.
It's the last game of the season. Of course, Lions already won their division.
Well, last game of the regular season.
Correct. Now we actually have to clarify because we're in the postseason. So
because we still made the postseason. So yeah, right.
So it's we got some guys coming back. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, for an example, he's coming back, but he's probably going to be activated snaps.
Yep. Ali McNeil, who I think is even a bigger
he is
return because Iffy's been playing fantastic out there at safety.
Yeah.
So, if we get Iffy, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and Branch, they're all playing. Our secondary got a little better.
100%.
Right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, maybe Cam Sutton won't look so bad this week.
I don't think they can help that.
Look, I know this is last week's game, but I've never seen the guy, our DBs, I've never seen so many DBs fall down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And trip over their own feet. Right? The Dallas receivers did not put that kind of move on you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, they turned to where your hips were. All you had to do was turn your shoulders, and you still tripped over your own feet. That's not good. That's not good going into the playoffs, and that's what we're getting. No. So, getting Gardner-Johnson back, even on a limited basis currently, is fantastic. I think it's great trying to get him back in and get him some regular season snaps before we head out to the postseason to see where he's at.
Yep.
Ali McNeil, we talked about it. Him coming back and plugging up the middle. When he got hurt, take a look at Hutchinson's numbers after McNeil got hurt, and they had somebody else when he wasn't playing in the last 4 games, right? Other than like Dallas, he had a much better game against Dallas, right? But the other games leading up to that, the 3 games in before that, while he was getting pressure, I don't know that he recorded a sack. So that just tells you how much Ali McNeil means to the inside, the interior of our defensive line, and what he was actually doing. Because even when they slid out and they were double teaming Hutchinson, that really left McNeil to come up the middle, and he was recording sacks.
Right.
So, but the good thing is they're back. We'll have that going on. They did not activate James Houston. And I don't know if that's because he's still not ready to return or if it's trying to find a roster spot with the guys that they currently have who've already been playing for them kind of thing,
Yeah.
But.
Well, I want to go over something real quick. So PFF, I'm a big fan of PFF, as you know, right? So this year, all right, their PFF grades. I just want to go over a couple of them, okay? The first one I go over is Jared Goff. He's got an 83.6 PFF grade. It's good enough for the 11th best quarterback out of 41 that's qualified. And this, of course, is just specifically on offense. This isn't, breaking down. It's everything combined. It's cumulative. It's not, whatever. So, Amon-Ra St. Brown has a 90 PFF grade on offense. That's 7th of 125.
And he didn't make the Pro Bowl.
And he didn't make the Pro Bowl. His receiving grade is 90.2. So that's pretty good. His run blocking grade is 68.8. Now, if he moved down a little bit, next one's Jahmyr Gibbs. He's 76.7 grade. He's 15th out of 61. David Montgomery is 80.5. He's 11th out of 61. So they're actually pretty close all together between like even pass blocking. I know that a lot of people thought David Montgomery, even myself, thought coming into the season David Montgomery was going to be the better pass blocker, but according to PFF, he has a lower grade than Jahmyr Gibbs in pass blocking. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. But he does have a little bit of a higher grade when it comes to running. Now, here's where I think it's pretty awesome. Ragnow has an 87.7 overall. He's first out of all centers. He's qualified. So 1 out of 36. His run blocking grade is an 89.6. So now his pass blocking is 74.3, which is still good, but 89.6 is elite. Yep. Right? Graham Glasgow, as a guard, he's 6th out of 79 total with a 77.7 overall offensive grade. His run blocking is an 84.5. So still good run blocking, but his pass blocking got dropped down to 56.9. So he's kind of a liability a little bit in pass block, but run blocking, the guy is a beast.
Yep.
And Taylor Decker, he is a 76, which is 17th out of 84 qualified tackles. His pass blocking 79.7, and his run blocking is a 65.3, so kind of the reverse of Graham Glasgow. And then there's Penei Sewell. 91.4 offensive grade. First out of all 84 qualified tackles. His run blocking grade is also first at a 93.8 run blocking grade. Insane.
What's his pass blocking? What was it again?
His pass blocking for Penei Sewell was 78.7, so a point less than Taylor Decker's.
Okay.
Yeah. So
but just running it.
That's offense.
That's crazy. Offense. Yeah.
Now, I just want to touch on defense real quick. I'll go through a lot faster because we know our defense is kind of struggling. But I just want to point out two things: highlights and lowlights. All right. Kendall Vildor, he hasn't played enough snaps to qualify in a ranking, but he has an 85.8 run defense grade. To give you an idea of what that is, Brian Branch's run defense grades an 83.5. So Kendall Vildor is 2.3 points higher than Brian Branch, and Branch is awesome when it comes to run defense.
Yes.
So, again, I just wanted to bring that out there.
He's been a fantastic pickup, by the way.
Yes. Yes,
fantastic pickup.
So let's look at Cameron Sutton, because I know we were talking about him. His coverage grade is a 55.8. He's 89 out of 125 cornerbacks. Jerry Jacobs, who we're making fun of, his coverage grade was 54.5, so a point lower than Sutton's, and he's 92 out of 125. So Cameron Sutton, even though we're making fun of Jerry Jacobs, Cameron Sutton's barely better than Jerry Jacobs, according to PFF ranking system, right?
Yep.
Now, Vildor's coverage grade is a 60.9, so 5.1 points higher than Sutton, and Brian Branch's coverage grade is a 74.5. All right, so much better. So anyways, I just want to point.
Still work to be done on the pass side, but
absolutely.
Overall, Vildor and Branch has got to be on the field, right?
Yeah,
and I think getting getting Gardner Johnson back and having Iffy where he's at, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to help on our cornerbacks.
So, Iffy,
excuse me,
his overall defensive grade is an 82.8. His pass rushing grade is a 91.7. He has a higher pass rushing grade than Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, I love when he comes in, man. Because he lowers the boom.
He does, man.
Man,
and his coverage grade is the best coverage grade. It's 3 points higher than Brian Branch's at 77.4. What was I looking for? Oh, Jack Campbell. That's what I was trying to find. Jack Campbell's run defense grade is 77.4. So that's by far his best. And his overall is a 56.8. So his overall is a 56.8 and his run defense is 77.4. You know the pass rush and the coverage is terrible. And his coverage grade is a 43.1. Lots of work to do there.
Well, I think he's got to get used to the speed of this game. right?
Yeah,
He's not at Iowa anymore, right? So the speed's a little different, and I have seen improvement, every game, right?
Yeah, he's definitely improved. Yes.
Yeah. So but he's gotten a lot more snaps here because of injuries here at the end of the season too. So like a little bit more time out on the field. I think that's made a difference. But yeah, we're not down on Jack Campbell. That's not what this was about. But
no,
it's just putting out some numbers.
Ali McNeil, his overall defensive ratings 88.1, second on the entire team, by the way. 88.1. So when we're talking about, he's fifth out of 131 total defensive tackles. Well, defensive linemen.
Defensive linemen.
Not edge rushers, but nose tackles, defensive
tackles. Interior linemen.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to say.
Interior linemen. Yep.
He's fifth out of 131. So McNeil's been extremely disruptive. Then you come down. Romeo Quora actually has been doing better. I know he has kind of limited snaps, but he's got 80.5 overall defensive. Aiden Hutchinson's at a 90.4, by far our best defensive player. His run defense is actually his worst attribute at 66.8. His pass rush is a 90.5 grade.
But on the rush side, you got to think about where he's at when the running back's grabbing the ball, right? So unless he's dropping... No, I know, but he's trying to come from the backside and make tackles. But I'm saying that for people who are listening so that they understand that it's not that he can't stop the run if they're running right at him, right? One, he's typically being double teamed when that happens, right? If they're going to run at Aiden Hutchinson, the tackle's there. They're probably chipping him with the tight end. So there's a lot going on there where it's not just
so
him not can't get the run.
Right. Now, each play is given a grade between a -2 and a +2 in like a half-point increments. All right. Now, what that means is if you get a 0, it's an average. All right.
Okay.
If so, anything in the negative, of course, is a negative play. A 0 just means you did your job. You may not have been an exceptional player or whatever, and anything in the positive means you did really well, right? So, in case of Aiden Hutchinson, like on a run play, how is he playing? Right? Like, did he do his job on a run play?
I would say yes.
It's not just about doing the making a tackle or something like that. It's just about doing his job.
Doing his job. So I would say yes.
But he's got a 66.8 grade.
I know.
That's all I'm saying, right?
I know.
So according to the analysts, he's kind of in the average. He's not like a liability necessarily. He's kind of like just in the average section, but he's still got work to do. I guess what I'm trying to say, right?
Okay.
Ultimately, he's got work to do. But anyways, that's all I really wanted to point out was just that we had some pretty good stars according to PFF, playing here.
And so not just that, right? And I know we haven't even gotten to the game yet, but I've got to talk about the Pro Bowl just for a quick second, right?
Okay.
So I'm upset that Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't get in. Now, I understand the receiving, it's not easy, right? Like, but come on, like, you got to think about what he does, right? Jahmyr Gibbs, I sent you that message, comparing him to DeAndre Swift, who we traded to the Eagles, and he's got 2 more games under his belt than does Jahmyr Gibbs, and their numbers are similar. Right? As far as total yardage. So, Swift is in, and Gibbs isn't. Right? So, and for that matter, Montgomery's not in. Right?
Gibbs is in.
Gibbs is in the Pro Bowl?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Ragnow? Because if I did, then I missed it.
Yeah, I'm almost positive.
The thing I sent you asked who should have been in the Pro Bowl.
I thought they were saying that. I maybe misread it. I thought they were saying that DeAndre Swift got snubbed because Gibbs made it. Oh no, I'm sorry. Gibbs is an alternate. My bad. Okay, no, you're right. Okay, he's an alternate.
So
yeah.
Now, depending on how far the Lions go into the playoffs, like if they make the Super Bowl, right? Obviously, that things change. But if they get knocked out in the NFC Championship game, right? The teams that are going, we have a bunch of alternates. We have 5 people currently in the Pro Bowl, which
and
is
7 alternates.
And 7 alternates, right? So we've had a good season. We've had some good players, right? It's kind of one of the Pro Bowl snubs happen every year, and while the Pro Bowl used to mean something, I think, right? It maybe it still does to some people, right? But I think getting selected as an All Pro,
right,
is different, right? That's what you want. But
I mean, now the Pro Bowl is basically a free vacation for the players. That's what it is.
Not just that.
It's football and everything now. Like
they're playing flag football, exactly.
I mean,
right?
It's I don't know. It's not anything that I find exciting. I don't even watch it. I think it's boring. I think it's a waste of time. And honestly, like fans get to vote, and fans are stupid.
Exactly. Well,
because fans only know their team. That's what I mean, right? Like fans don't look outside their team, so they vote for their players, their favorite players. That's all they do.
Right. So Puka Nacua got into the Pro Bowl. Is he mean more to his team than Amon-Ra St. Brown? I don't think so.
I think you make the argument that it's pretty close. But as far as what they mean for the team, I mean, I'd rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown as receiver for me. But I'm just saying, like, because he's like right now, Puka Nacua is outplaying Cooper Kupp. So,
but Cooper Kupp has been hurt though.
It doesn't matter. If you're talking about who means more for their team, they're both kind of the number one receiver on both teams. I guess that's what I'm saying. So you can make the argument that's kind of equal to what they mean for their team.
Okay,
that's all I'm trying to say. Like, it's how you kind of ask the question. I think is why it's kind of like a toss up.
Okay. But yeah, as I just you look through these things, and I like that Jalen Reeves-Maybin made it.
Oh, special teamer, yeah.
Yeah, we've talked about him throughout special teams throughout the season, right? And what he's contributed to our team. I think Jack Fox should have, he's kind of, I love Jack Fox.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's given it to us when we needed it, right? But, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to say about the Pro Bowl, I guess.
Well, the, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, being snubbed. I think there's the big difference is Puka Nacua made a lot of news, and same thing with DeAndre Swift at the very beginning of the season. Swift had a couple really big games at the beginning of the season. Puka Nacua had some awesome games at the beginning of the season, and those were the storylines. So that stuck in people's heads. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't get started right away. He wasn't even playing the first couple games.
Right.
And then when he started playing, he got put into the offense slowly, and it wasn't until just recently where he started making waves and creating headlines. And so I think because
with St. Brown, he's pretty quiet,
and that's exactly what I was with St. Brown. He's pretty quiet.
Yeah.
He's one heck of a receiver, and I don't think the guy's coverable by one person. I don't know if any cornerback in the league could cover Amon-Ra St. Brown for an entire game. Amon-Ra St. Brown is too good, in my opinion. But yeah, I mean, so again, Amon-Ra St. Brown's quiet. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't have the headlines at the beginning of the year. It was the people at the beginning of the year with the headlines. That's why we see them in the Pro Bowl.
And that's fine. what's important to me as a Lions fan is a playoff win.
Right.
Right. If we can get to the conference championship, right? Is it conference? Division championship, division round. Get to the division round, not the conference round. Get to the division round. And I would love to see the Cowboys again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. And back in Detroit. I think that's what, depending on where they're going to be ranked, I guess. Philly wins and Dallas loses. Dallas has got the Redskins, or I'm sorry, the Commanders. And the Commanders, that's a division game, just like tomorrow's game with the Vikings and the Lions, right? Those are always tough games, right? And I think Dallas still has something to prove because between them and Philly, right? Dallas has the better record currently.
Do they?
Yeah, because Philly lost last week.
I thought that's item or something, though. I'm looking it up, but
yeah, NFC.
No, they're tied, but Cowboys have a better record because of the tiebreaker. But they're but they got the same overall record, 11-5.
Yeah. So the Eagles have to win, the Cowboys have to lose. Right? So tomorrow's game for the Cowboys means something. Right?
Yes.
Same thing with the Eagles. You know, that game's going to matter because they'll need to win and have the Cowboys lose. Right? Because right now, the 49ers got the number 1 seed, and the Cowboys and Eagles are currently fighting for the 2 seed. Because the loser, whatever team loses tomorrow, is going to be in the wild card. They're going to be the 5 seed.
Now, I think I heard that if, Cowboys, Eagles, and Niners lose, and the Lions win, Lions will get the 1 seed.
I'm looking.
Isn't that what it?
I thought they said the Niners have already clinched the number 1 seed.
Right. Okay, you're right. I think.
And I think right. that's the NFC, like the conference tiebreaker.
No, yeah. You got it. That's right. So the best the Lions can hope for is the 2nd seed.
Is the 2nd seed, right? And that's if the Cowboys and Eagles both lose and we win. Right. So, but that would be meaning, what do we get, the 7 seed then, right?
Right.
But right now the Rams are in. The Cowboys and Eagles are in. The Vikings have a super small chance of getting in, but it looks like probably it's going to be between the Packers and the Seahawks. As far as the 7th seed.
I mean, it kind of depends, right?
I actually could be both of them, actually. Could be the Seahawks and Packers. Because that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's only 5 teams, 7 teams total in the playoffs.
I mean, it could technically be...
Oh, the Buccaneers. I forget about the NFC South winners.
The Bucs, the Seahawks, the Saints, or the Packers. It could be any one of them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I didn't go down far enough because, the NFC South doesn't really matter.
Hey, they're 8-8.
Well, how's this? If the Saints and Bucks both lose, we're going to have a losing record in the playoffs again from the NFC South.
Right. Yeah, right. But
so
the Bucks are playing Carolina. So, I mean, Carolina's
not so good.
Bad.
I know.
Bad.
But
what sucks, though, is that the Bears have their pick. So
yes.
The Bears get the first overall pick now.
Correct. And that's already locked up, even if they win tomorrow.
Yeah.
The Panthers, even if the Panthers win tomorrow, the Bears get the number 1 pick.
Yep.
Whatever. Lions don't need the number 1 pick. The Lions want the number 32 pick.
I'd love that to happen.
I would love to. I would love to have the number 32 pick next year.
Yeah, me too.
Right?
Me too.
Because what better opportunity to have the draft in Detroit after having won the Super Bowl for the very first time ever.
Oh my, that'd be electric, man.
With the 32nd pick of the 2024 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select. Boom! Like, it would be just incredible. What an incredible moment for the city of Detroit would that be?
Dude, I texted you earlier on. I was checking the score real quick because the Texans and the Colts both have like the same record, right?
Yep.
So this game that's being played right now means a lot, and right now the Texans are in front of the Colts, 23-17.
Yeah.
But listen to these stats real quick. C.J. Stroud's 20 of 26 for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns. Keep that in mind, 264 yards.
Yep.
Nico Collins has 9 receptions for 195 yards.
That's what happens when you get a 75-yard touchdown to start the game.
I mean, only 70 yards of of C.J. Stroud is not gone in Nico Collins. Like, that is crazy, man.
And what's even funnier is that it's Ohio State throwing to Michigan.
Yes.
Right?
And
I know they're teammates, but during the game, they're not teammates. They're not teammates during the game. I know they're not.
No.
So.
But
yeah.
Okay. We're getting way off track here. That's my fault. I keep derailing us here. But so.
This is probably why we should do shows more often. we could probably keep our pre and post games down to about 35 minutes if we did a show every day.
I think we do it 20.
We could if
honestly.
we did one like 4 or 5 times a day, where you had to have like 4 times a week. Because we'd have to talk about the Pro Bowl, we have to talk about the snub, we have to talk about the.
There's so much we haven't talked about. So yeah,
I know
we got to talk about it.
Got to talk about it.
So, anyways, so look, I don't want to get too involved when it comes to the game tomorrow because, it's. I don't know what we're gonna see. How hard are the Lions actually be playing? I know what Dan Campbell said, but I'm kind of curious to see like what the game is actually going to look like. Like how long the starters are going to play.
That was my thing, right? Like we technically have something to play for. If these other guys lose, right?
Which we don't know because they're playing later on.
They're going to play the late game, right? So we would have to go out there and say, okay, hey, we're going to put up the W, just like we did last year when we went out and beat the Packers.
Yep.
And we needed the Seahawks to lose, and they just didn't do that for us. Right? Or we would have been in the playoffs last year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I prefer being in the playoffs this year because now we won the division. So, I would say we're going to see them at least for the first half. All right? And probably come out and play maybe at least the first possession of the third quarter. And then we're going to see where we're at, right? And then I think, because you don't want them to get rusty. I know they're playing next week, but you don't want them to not play.
No, I agree.
And then be rusty going out. So I would rather see them come in and play into the third quarter, maybe even play all of the third quarter. And if we're winning, if we're up by 10 points, I say you start pulling them out and you play your backups.
So let's like I said, so it's not really worth, I don't think, like breaking down the game because you don't really know what's going to happen. So ultimately, let's just kind of cut to the end and talk about the predictions for offensive player, defensive player, and final score.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go this time because your guy's back. And if you want to take him, I want you to take him. Because if you don't, I'm gonna.
Look, I want to take Lee McNeil. But I don't know how many snaps he's going to play because he's just now coming back from being injured. I think they're going to ease him in. So I don't think he's going to be out there enough to make enough plays to be defensive player of the game. That's all. Okay. That's all.
Okay. No, that totally makes sense.
But I think what I'm going to go with is, I'll go with Vildor.
Okay.
I know it went to him last time too, but I'm going to stick with Vildor. He's been playing some good defense. I know he fell down on that one long touchdown, but ultimately, I think that Vildor has been one of our better corners. Again, corner specifically, I'm not talking about slot. I'm not talking about safety.
No.
I'm just talking about as far as an actual outside corner. Vildor has probably been our best corner.
Yes, since we've gotten him. So
right,
I'm gonna take Iffy Malafamu. Right, I know Gardner Johnson's back, but I think they're gonna figure out a way to get them both out on the field and have Brian Branch on the field at the same time.
Well, not just those three. Brian Branch will definitely be on the field, but you're forgetting about the other safety.
Was it Kirby?
Kirby Joseph.
Yeah, Kirby Joseph.
Have Kirby Joseph, Iffy, and Gardner Johnson on the field at the same time. Those three safeties.
Yeah. But what a way to rotate 4 men in, right? So I'm gonna go with Malafamu. He just his ability to come off and blitz from the safety position is just it's a beautiful sight. It's just a beautiful sight. So that's who I'm gonna go with.
I almost took Kirby Joseph. I'm kind of thinking Iffy's not going to play that much either because I almost took Iffy, and I was thinking, no, Iffy's not going to play that much because I want Gardner Johnson to get some play time. So I think they're going to sub both of them out. Again, it's not because they can't come up with defensive packages from all the play.
Oh yeah,
I just think it's because it's the last game of the season, not a ton there, and they want the players to play, but they also want them to get some rest. So they're not going to play a full game.
That's what I was going to say that too. Like, I get what you're saying. It's not poor play. It's allowing them to play and trying to keep them from getting hurt at the same time.
Yeah, and just some rest too, right?
Yep.
Don't play 50, 60 snaps. Go ahead and just take it down to 25, 30.
Yeah.
So offensively, then, what do you say?
I'm gonna go with my boy Sam Laporta, and I just I want to go with St. Brown. I think he's gonna be pissed. He's gonna want the ball as much as they're gonna allow him to play. He's gonna want the ball, and he's gonna want to show and prove just like he does every day after he reads the 15 names that got selected before him. Right, like that's how he played. But I'm just gonna go with my tried and true because I know he's gonna. I'm going with Laporta. He's gonna have a 100-yard game tomorrow.
I'm gonna pick a player that I haven't picked at all this entire year.
Uh-oh.
Yep. And I'm gonna go with David Montgomery.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay.
Again, I think they're going to protect Gibbs a little bit. I think they're going to see Gibbs as a little more valuable than Montgomery. Don't get me wrong. Montgomery's a good running back. It's just not Gibbs. That's just, I keep saying that over and over again. He's just not Gibbs.
Yeah. Yep. So, Montgomery will go out there and get you 3 or 4, and Gibbs will get out there and get you 6 or 7.
Yeah, that's what it seems like, right?
Right, and it is what it is, but
So I'll go with Montgomery. I think he's gonna get the majority of the snaps tomorrow at running back, and because of that reason, I think he's gonna have a pretty decent game.
Cool. Yeah, Laporta though, 100 yards.
Book it.
Done.
So with that, I just want to send a reminder that we're going to do a live show during the Lions game. So, do what we're going to do, right? Put the Lions game on in the background and come chat with us as we're talking about it. You can find us on, Twitch, YouTube, even Facebook, right? Just come find us and chat with us during the game.
Yeah. So here's what I want. All right. Here's my final word. Before we saw, here's my final word. Sam Laporta is going to get 141 yards because that's going to give him 1,001. Gibbs is going to get the yardage he needs to get 1,000 yards. Montgomery's going to get the yardage he needs to have 1,000 yards. And we're going to have 2,000-yard rushers and 2,000-yard receivers on the same team.
I'd love to see that. I think that's a good idea. I think that's going to work out.
That's what I'm calling it today, right now.
All right.
It'd be my early birthday wish, and my birthday's not till August.
Well, it could be mine next month, but I don't. That's not what I'm asking for.
That's not what you.
I'm asking for a Super Bowl. That's what I want.
Okay. All right. I just think what a cool thing that would be, the way to finish your regular season. Right? It just something that's never been done, and it's been done by the Lions.
That'd be really cool.
That's what I want.
Well, the Super Bowl is only a week before my birthday, so it would be a good birthday present.
Well, if I win the lottery, brother, we are going to the Super Bowl.
Let's do that. That sounds good.
Okay.
All right.
And Lions win by 10. Lions win by 10. I won't give a score, but they're going to win by 10.
That sounds like that's actually pretty good. I'd say that's pretty accurate. They'll win by 10. Yeah, I can go with that.
All right, that's my final word.
No, it isn't. I'm waiting for the next.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so appreciate everybody if you stuck to the end. Again, find us tomorrow during the game, and let's talk football. Let's talk Lions.
Yeah.
And other than that, we'll talk to you next time.
All right, guys, take care.
Thanks for listening to No Pads Sports Talk. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. While you're at it, help spread the word by leaving a rating and review wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us on social media at No Pads Sports Talk.